Hi everybody, welcome to this week's version of Ask Octopus, where I'll be answering one of your interesting questions today. I've got Bob Walker here with me today. How are you, Bob?
Hey Derek, how you doing today?
I'm good. Again, Friday. Unfortunately, even though it's summer, it's not very summery. I think summer in Scotland at the moment is 404. It seems to be replaced with some kind of horrible grey weather that they rebrand as summer.
Yeah. I kind of got the same thing today. Of course, I mean this is the day after the 4th of July, so my entire neighborhood when I woke up had this haze of all of the exploded fireworks from last night.
Yeah, got to love it. Independence Day. But yeah, that's cool. Right, I'm really excited for this session because the session this week is on the Linux Tentacle.
Nice.
For some time now, we've had the ability to do deployments to Linux using SSH, which a lot of our customers are using. What it does involve obviously connecting into SSH and doing the deployment over there. Not a lot of customers are that happy about opening up that port. And I think what's going to happen, and also just the driver for this is Octopus Cloud. That's going to be running on, as one of the recent Ask Octopus, as you were on as well. Obviously, we're going to be running it on Linux server as well, which I'm super excited. I think it's bizarre, but it's cool as well.
Oh yeah, and we had to solve in order to run Octopus deploy on Linux server. So much of what we had to solve, we had to also solve for the Tentacle, because the Tentacle and the server, they share a lot of bits of pieces of code. So I'm like, well, we're solved for that. Might as well solve for this as well.
No, that's it. I think as well, it's also going to be, I think the thing is with the Tentacle being on Linux, I think things like Java development and deployments is going to be a lot easier as well. So there's lots of really great usages. So what I'm going to do is just, I will post it just down at the bottom here. I'm going to post these articles. Tom Williams just posted a blog about it. I definitely recommend reading this. Tom covers it really well. And then additionally, we've also got in our documentation, we've got some really great information in here. Some of the requirements, like for instance, what I'll also be doing today is taking you through, things like installing .NET Core. And then obviously there are some known limitations. So obviously at the moment you do add it from the Linux server back to the environment. It doesn't support PowerShell, C# or S# scripts. And that's it.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, if you're running this on Linux, I can't imagine you'd be rocking F#.
Hey man, I'm not saying anything. If that's your bag, that's your bag.
Exactly, that's true. Fair enough.
It does obviously do Bash and Python, so that's great. And automatic updates are not currently supported. But what I do is just go through, it is supported for Debian. We also have CentOS and an archive as well. It's really great information. It takes you through. You can do listing and you can do polling as well. So obviously with that, I think there'll be another session just after this one about some tentacles that Bob's going to do as well.
Yep.
But yeah, let's just jump in. As you can see, this is we've got a demo instance up in the cloud. So you come into infrastructure. I'm going to come into environments. I'm going to be adding this to the test environment today. As you can see, we've got a dev and test cloud region, test artifacts, and then another 2 VMs that we're using. All healthy, which is great. So let's jump in. I am going to jump into terminal. So let's just make this a little bit. I'm going to just switch this over very briefly.
Yep.
And Bob, can you see that okay?
Oh yeah.
Excellent. So I'm connected to a machine in Azure. It's just running Ubuntu 18.04 long-term support version. I'm going to just take the time just to take you through the deployment to the setup and get it added in, and then we'll jump back and I'll show you in the Octopus demo environment. So first things first, you're going to need to register the Microsoft key and feed. So I am just going to, what I'll do is I will make this available afterwards, as well as you've got here. I'm just, oh, I may have to. This may get permission denied. I may have, no, all good. I'm just going to, this is horrible. Obviously, I'm going to just jump into administrator. Don't do that. But yeah, it's obviously from there. And next, we're going to install .NET Core. This is it's just four commands. You've got it here. Just going to hit paste. Oh, and it helps if I copy and paste correctly. Give that a sec. This may fail. Unfortunately, I've been a bit quick and missed the S in sudo. I'd imagine, yeah, we're getting bits and bobs of it. Let's just rerun that.
There we go. That looks a lot better.
Go. Yeah, there we go. We're going. This is obviously, this is one of the prerequisites. Without this, this just won't work. So yeah, and then the last line there, just press enter. And here we go with the .NET and press yes. And off we go. It's just grabbing the info. It's just grabbing all the files. The next step, once .NET Core is completed installing, I'm going to then install the Tentacle. Much like, obviously with people who have done it in the past, when you do it in Windows, it is, you install the Tentacle, and then you configure the instance afterwards. So this will be just a straight up, obviously, running the install. This is taking a bit. Taking a bit longer. So, do you, with your customers, Bob, do you get a lot of people who are doing Linux deployments?
I have a couple big customers that are doing Linux deployments, and they're really, really happy to see this Linux Tentacle come out because they have multiple data centers, and they were a little bit hesitant to open up SSH ports and SSH connections just because security concerns, everything like that. And they liked the way that the Tentacle communicated and did that two-way trust and all that other stuff. So yeah, it's not like it's a big percentage of all the people that I talk to, but the ones who I do talk to, they're really excited about this.
Well, I've got a large customer, obviously not allowed to mention it, and they actually got in touch recently, and they're like, when is this out?
Yeah.
It's one of those things. They're a large insurance company, and they're very, very keen, much like you, obviously, just a little averse of it, and that's understandable.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is definitely taking a little bit longer than. There we go.
Tempted the demo gods.
Yeah, that's it. I sacrificed it. Obviously, I sacrificed stuff to the demo gods before. But yeah, here we go. So obviously, this is just configuring .NET.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm so used to a Windows point of view. I mean, I won't lie. I've used Linux a little bit in the past, but most of the time it was, I'm going to set up Linux, and I set up Linux. I'm like, all right, now what?
Yeah, it's I've done a bit of obviously I'm different. I come from an ops background, and
yeah,
I remember obviously the first time I was doing it, and it was Red Hat. It was CentOS and a bit of obviously Red Hat, same distribution, but done a bit of that, and it was quite daunting at first. I jumped over to a couple of years later. I jumped over then to another organization, and their flavor was Debian or Ubuntu. And I generally just find Ubuntu to be just easier to use. That's just I think everyone's got that sort of personal preference with Linux.
Yeah, absolutely. And the nice thing about it is like the core concepts are all still the same. It's just like the bits and pieces are different here and there.
That's it.
Yeah. But I think the first time I started messing around with Linux, it was before even Ubuntu came out. And so you'd install the distro and you're like, all right, I want to place, because I was like, this is going to be my desktop replacement. So it's like, all right, I'm going to, I want to play some music. How do I do that? And then you have to install all the codecs. I'm like, I have to do what now?
Yep.
So, I mean, again, this was like back in the early 2000s where Linux was just really more for like hardcore server work, not necessarily as desktop friendly as it has become. I mean, it's taken quantum leaps over the past 10, 15 years.
Yeah, and that's it.
More useful. Yeah.
It's funny because back at university, we were using Mint. It was just running it off a USB drive, and
yep.
And I don't want to show my age, but this is like early 2000s, and it was crazy. It was fun though. It did. Anyway, we've got an install. .NET is in.
So I'm going to age myself just a bit real quick. The first live distro for me was a CD. It wasn't even a USB stick. The USB sticks were not even a thing at the time.
You got to love it. It's so this is it. This is it. We're installing the Tentacle. This is also what the good thing about Linux is. You just automate it. Because everything's command line. You know, obviously we're all. And then lastly, let's install this Tentacle. But yeah, so the next step, this is something, when I was setting this up as part of today's demo, I did discover a slight issue. It's something I'm going to raise, and we should fix it. But what it is the initial, when I've done this, I've had to actually change here we go. We're running this. We're changing the permissions for the Tentacle to be able to execute. By default, when I was testing this in Ubuntu on Azure, there was some issues. So what I'm just doing here is I'm just making this executable. Without that, you're going to run into some problems. You're going to get some permission denied and it won't start. Okay, so that's us. Right, next up, we now have the configuration of it.
All right.
This is going to be a long one. I definitely will include this in the script. It is all in the page, but you'll see here there's a lot. There's something like 20 lines here of configuration. And here we go. This is it. So we've got obviously the server URL here. We have the thumbprint API key, which I'll be deleting afterwards. The name,
good reason.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, as you can see, environment's been added. Role, web server, etc. And as it's going through, it's got all that good stuff. And then, yeah. Okay, so that's it now ran. What I'm now going to do is start it. And this is us. We're running. We're running. Right. Okay, I'm now just going to switch back to Chrome. Okay, as you see, we're now back to the same Chrome window. And all I'm going to do is just hit enter. Deployment targets, back to environments. You should now see,
there it is.
And it's unhealthy at the moment, it's unavailable at the moment. I'm just going to start the agent. And what we should now see,
is it supposed to be HTTPS 000.51?
I don't know. It's not supposed to be that at all.
That might just. Oh, so that was the name that you probably used.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so that is it. We now have. I'm just going to we'll jump over that. We now have this and added. We do seem to have a slight issue where. I am just going to change. I think that's one of the scripts that I've just run. I'm just going to fix this quickly. This is 51.140.121.54. Just so you're aware, this is currently in beta. We are still working on things. So yeah, it's.
I think your script might be an alpha right there.
Yes, I'm not even sure it's as far as alpha, if I'm being honest, Bob. But yeah, that's it. So now, by the end of it, we now should have, obviously, that'll be added. And what you can do is, you can also add it from within Octopus here as well. You do need to have version 2019, version 5.7 and above. Without it, like for instance, you've got it here, and you can see it's in early access as well. Okay, nice. Right. I'm just going to wrap that up now. Just obviously, there's some TLDRs. Just generally, it's currently in beta. Supports obviously Debian, Ubuntu, and CentOS. You can register as a worker or a Tentacle as well. We did do the worker. Just use the additional the different commands. PowerShell is not supported, unsurprisingly. Bash and Python is going to be your go-to, and obviously you can't automatically upgrade the Tentacle like you can do within Windows. Definitely, if you jump into this, certainly jump onto our community Slack. We also have a dedicated channel named Linux Tentacle. The feedback, get involved in the conversation. If you any help that you can give us, then that's much appreciated. So yeah, that's pretty much it now. Apologies about the shaky demo. But thanks to everybody for joining us today. Bob as well. Awesome. But yeah, if you do have any interesting questions, submit them at hello.octopus.com/askoctopus. We do have a new email address. Email us at tam@octopus.com, as that's technical account manager at octopus.com. And like I said earlier on, join us on Slack. So Bob, thank you very much. Guys, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Derek. You have a good one.
Cheers.